Hey there, welcome to Professor Purl, a YouTube channel about knitting. I'm Nicole and this is episode 56. This is a YouTube channel that's a show and tell of my knitting and a little bit of sewing today. And I'm also a professor that loves to knit, so that's how the YouTube channel gets its name. Yesterday, I had my first pumpkin spice latte of the season, and tomorrow, like the fall semester begins, I have my first class with my freshmen. So I teach math to freshmen, and essentially, I potentially will be their very first class of the semester tomorrow, and I'm really excited about that. So between my pumpkin spice latte and school starting tomorrow, I just really had an urge to share my finished objects. I have two garments and that I'm hoping to wear in either the first or second week of classes. And I have another like fall garment on the needles. It's a test knit that's about halfway done and I'm super excited about it. On my last episode, I was celebrating 3 years of being a YouTuber or podcasting. And yeah, so I had a giveaway. So I will announce that giveaway winner, which is a really cool skein of yarn and a little garter scarf pattern. I'll announce that after the finished objects and works in progress. And we've also reached 4,000 subscribers on this channel in that time, which is so exciting. Thank you so much for being here. And whether you're new or returning, thank you. And I have another cool giveaway, some really cool bags for my friend Valerie, and that I will also share after the finished objects and works in progress. So yeah, it's still summer, but I'm just feeling like fall. So it feels like a good time for us to hop into talking about some garments. First finished object that I want to show, I've been working on all summer. So if you're a returning viewer, you've seen this. Not in its completed state, maybe, unless you watched my Flock Fiber Festival social video. I did a vlog and a discussion about the social experience, and I also did a haul video. So you might have seen it on there, or if you follow me on Instagram, I haven't really talked about it in its finished object state. I'm not going to give it too much attention as I do feel like it took me the entire summer to make this tank top. Worth it though. So yeah, go back and watch past episodes if you want to hear everything. But I do want to give a quick rundown because we do have quite a few new subscribers here. So I will say this. I made this out of Madelintosh light yarn. This colorway is called Paper. This is Tomato. And this is Button Jar Blue. And I think that Madelintosh light, which is like a singles base that's unplied, really makes a great garment. Like for a tank top, it has some great drape. And this is the Mooncrush Tank pattern by Jacqueline Cieslak. And I knit this to match my friend Melissa, who stitches Be Slip In on Instagram and YouTube. So I finished this in time for us to match. I didn't know if I would, but I did, and I'm so proud. Yeah, so I feel like the entire summer it took me to knit the front panel here. That's how it felt. It felt like my whole summer was knitting this because the front piece is knit flat and the back piece is knit flat. So there's purling, which is a little slower, and then intarsia, which is really like this is my very first intarsia project, and I just want to say if you've never done intarsia, this would be a good project to do it. Intarsia is just twisting yarn essentially when at the join. I wish I would have known that. I maybe would have done an intarsia project sooner. Yeah, so I'll show the inside. It looks really good. And the intarsia only got a little fiddly when I was right here in this like 3-color section. And the neckline finishes. Melissa did an I-cord edging on hers, which if I ever make another one of these, which won't be anytime soon, I would totally do that. I think for a summer tank, not having a little mock neck is smart. And so she did an I-cord edging and it looked really good there. I didn't like how my finishes turned out like there too much. So if you look at pictures of me wearing it at Flock, I actually have it the opposite where I wore the back as the front. Hey, it worked. And when I last recorded, I had the front and the back panel done or maybe the back panel was like almost done. And so I knew that I would finish the back panel in plenty of time. What I didn't know is if I would do the finishing touches. If you're a longtime viewer, you know when it comes to doing finishes, it's just not my strength. But I did vertical mattress stitch, which I've done before, but I just never really remember how to do it because I don't do it that often. So this is what the inside of that looks like. And it just looks so clean and nice. And so I watched a video tutorial by Very Pink Knits to refresh my memory on how to do it, and I just picked it up. And while it's fresh in my head, I'm working on another pattern that's called the Heirloom Quilt Cardigan. And while it's fresh in my head, I should do the vertical mattress stitching because I have all 27 rectangles of my Heirloom Quilt Cardigan knit. I have all the horizontal seaming done. I just have the vertical seaming, so it feels like a ripe time. So I finished that, and I did the I-cord edging. And on my last episode, I shared that I was worried if this would fit me because I went down a size than what the pattern recommended. So I was nervous. And then when I would hold it up to my body, it was hard to visualize the pieces when you knit flat because it kind of curls in. So yeah, I was nervous about it fitting me, and it fit me so well. It fit me exactly how I wanted it to fit me. So I forget the exact amount of positive ease that the pattern recommends, but it's a lot. Let's just say it's 10 inches, something like that. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to wear. And it looks really great on people that wear that. I just wanted a different look. Like there's a lot of armpit gap when you knit something like a tank with 10 inches of positive ease, and I didn't want that. So I actually went down a size to have a little less positive ease, and I was, after I did the I-cord edging, I would try it on because I wanted to make sure that I could wear this and feel comfortable. And my main goal was to have a tank top, obviously, to wear with Melissa at Flock, but I also wanted a tank top that I would wear to work. And I think this is a tank top I will wear to work now. So yeah, this definitely fits me with positive ease really well, and it looks super good. But I think that if you're looking at that tank top and you're nervous about it being too cropped, well, you can knit it longer. Mine is the knit longer version. I didn't knit it as cropped as some of the pictures. And if you're nervous about like the armpit hole part being way too big, just I guess my recommendation would be to go down a size because that worked really well for me. Yeah, so I wore this at Flock, matched. And if you want to know more about Flock, I have 2 other videos that I'll link below. Okay, so in this, I did this vertical seaming, and so now I have a funny story about Melissa. I don't know if Melissa's watching this, but hopefully she's okay with me telling it. She's like one of the funniest people you'll meet. You probably know this if you watch her YouTube channel, but so basically, I only had the vertical stitching left on my Heirloom Quilt Cardigan, and I'm so excited about this cardigan. So when we were at Flock, there was somebody walking down the aisle that had this kind of orange version of an Heirloom Quilt Cardigan, but like a vest. And I was just so excited. I like went up to the person and I was like, oh my goodness, I just love your vest. I'm making the Heirloom Quilt Cardigan now. I just have all my vertical seaming left, like telling her the same story and then telling her how I love her vest. And before she can respond, Melissa makes a joke. And I don't exactly remember how the joke went, but it went something like, nobody wants to make this nobody wants to make the sleeves of it, and nobody wants to do all that sewing, so you went for the quicker route. How creative, like something like that. And then this woman's like, well, actually, I'm the designer of the Heirloom Quilt Cardigan, and yeah, so this is the new one, the vest. It's gonna be coming out soon. And I just, oh my gosh, it made me laugh so hard. And then I regretfully like didn't get a picture because I was like laughing too hard by that. Anyway, Melissa, let me know if you're watching this. And actually, Melissa, you should tell your version of the story because I feel like you're funnier than me. So, okay, so fun. Oh, one last thing, and this is one more kind of flock related thing. There was so many moon crushes at Flock. Like there were so many. Every time I turned a corner, somebody was wearing a Mooncrush tank. And like, who knew? This pattern's been out for a while, but like, who knew all of us flock goers were like going to make the Mooncrush tank? And I was stopped a lot at flock for people to like comment on the Mooncrush and ask questions about it and tell me they like the colors, which was awesome. But I think one of the reasons why I was stopped so much is because there were so many people that had a Mooncrush tank. And so, like, retrospectively, I wish I would have put on social media, like, let's do a Mooncrush meetup. That would have been so cool because, I mean, there had to have been at least 20 of them. Okay. This feels like my summer project, and it feels like a nice sunset to summer because I go back to work tomorrow. I mean, technically, I went back to work last week. I had meetings, but I see students, like my favorite part of my job. I see students tomorrow. All right, I have another garment to show, but it is not knitting, it's sewing. Before I reveal my sewing object, my finished object, I do want to tell a little quick story, which is after I finished my tank top, I had plenty of time to sew a skirt for flock, like over a week, or maybe exactly a week or a little over a week. And it could have been possible. And I wanted to do it and it could have been possible. But here's what happened. I sewed a shirt instead. I just haven't sewed in so long. Years. Maybe 2 years. My husband's been using my sewing machine. Like Kyle, my husband Kyle, has been using my sewing machine way more than me because Matilda, my 6-year-old, her clothes like never fit quite right. Like they fit her in length and the waist is too big, or they fit her in the waist and they're too short. So he's just always borrowing my sewing machine. So he's been using my sewing machine more than me. What happened is I started to sew a shirt and had some mistakes, and it went into like the naughty corner or the timeout closet. I'm a new sewist, and sometimes learning new things is really hard, and it's easier to do things that are easy. Like it's easier to do things you're good at. So like I'm like experienced at knitting, so it's easy to do that, and I'm inexperienced at sewing, so it's hard to do that. And yeah, so it's just got pushed aside a lot. But there's 3 people that like have YouTube channels that have just been so inspiring to me, and I've always wanted to sew garments, and I mean, that's why I had a sewing machine. And when I started this channel, I envisioned it being me sharing my like me made wardrobes, like my hand knit sweaters and my hand sewn clothes. And it's not what happened, but that's okay. It's just yeah, so the 3 people that are like I've been watching on YouTube and they're just inspiring me and really motivated this sewing project to happen, even though it's not the skirt I wanted it to happen, would be first Emily the Botanical Knitter. Just she sews, knits, spins, and just I, Emily's just a wonderful human, my friend, and just she really inspires me. And her aesthetic is really in a similar vein. So if you like Emily's podcast, you'd also like my friend Stephanie's podcast, and vice versa. If you like Stephanie's, you probably like Emily's. So Stephanie's Edible Eats and Makes on YouTube, and she like sews and knits her clothes, does a lot of gardening, a lot of baking. Just both of them are just these like just really talented women that have like all these different hobbies, and they just inspire me so much. So both Stephanie and Emily had given me some advice on skirts to sew, and I'm going to when I have the pattern pieces printed off. I've got some fabric ready to go. Like I am ready to make a skirt or two happen. But then some people on YouTube here commented below and recommended Jen Geigley Knits, and she is sewing patterns that are like what I want to sew and also was in my little timeout corner. So yeah, so those 3, you probably already follow all 3 of them, but if you don't, they are the inspiration for this shirt I'm going to show. A lot of build up here. But the funny story is basically I took my sewing machine out. So verbose. It was so windy to explain this, but I take my sewing machine out, and because I had already started a shirt, I had different color thread in my sewing machine. And so I basically decided I'm going to finish my shirt and then do the skirt. But the shirt took me a lot longer than I thought it would, like a lot longer, and that's because I'm a novice. I saw this shirt and just had some finishing touches to it, and I thought, I'll finish it in a day. And it took me a whole weekend, like a Saturday and Sunday of sewing. And so the Saturday and Sunday before flock, I finished this shirt, and then I had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to do my skirt, which might have been enough time for a lot of people, but just the way that our summer was going, Matilda had soccer camp, we had swimming, it didn't happen. And I think actually that's also why I turned to knitting. I'm in this stage of life that's really busy going around, and knitting's very portable. Nonetheless, let me get to this sewn shirt. Okay. If you see all the mistakes in it, and just imagine this being like when somebody knits their first garter stitched scarf and it's all the holes and stuff, and they're just so proud that they wear it. That's the shirt for me. So if you're an experienced sewer, you may not wear this, but I'm so excited about this and I am going to wear it. Okay. Let me start with the pattern. So I knit a shirt that is called Shirt Number 1 by Sonya Philip. I actually bought the pattern for this before the book 100 Acts of Sewing existed and was published. So I have like the old school Shirt Number 1 pattern that I purchased off of her website. I would like to buy the book 100 Acts of Sewing for sure, especially after watching Jen Geigley's YouTube channel. And I definitely need that book and all the patterns. And I think it would be fun to like work my way through it. It's just a style I really like, which is boxy and oversized. Okay, and then the fabric. I live south of Portland, Oregon, in wine country, and in Portland or around Portland area, there's actually don't know the exact city it's in. So it could be like something like Portland, or maybe it has a different address like Tigard or something. But nonetheless, I just put it in my GPS and go. There's a Pendleton Wool End, a Pendleton Mill End store. So like the mill ends of their fabric are at this Pendleton store. It is nice. And somebody that's a novice sewist going there, like just imagine this. You have no clue what you're doing and you're just like pretty. So so when I saw this pink fabric, I would call it velvet, but it wasn't labeled velvet. It was like pontine or something like this. I don't even know. I should look it up. And it was expensive, but I remember thinking this will be the most perfect shirt number 1. And it is. It's got great drape. But as a new sewist, this is actually a very slippery fabric, and this is how it ended up in my timeout. Let me show you what I mean by my mistakes. You see how this is kind of ruched and unpleasant. And that is because I was a new sewist and I didn't know like the tricks for slippery. I am a new sewist. I didn't know that slippery fabric was hard, and I didn't know what to do to avoid these things. I actually used ChatGPT or AI to help me. I like wrote in ChatGPT what my challenges were, and artificial intelligence offered some suggestions, which included a walking foot. So I need to buy a walking foot. And then I also used Wonder Tape. And so I did have Wonder Tape, and so I did use that, and that fixed a lot of my issues. Maybe not perfectly, which is why I need the walking foot, but huge improvement. So before I used the Wonder Tape, I wouldn't have been able to do a decent hem on here. Now, again, you might be thinking you could do better, but I'm really proud of it. And I used a thread that matched this fabric, and so I just think I'm definitely gonna wear this. I'm definitely very proud of this, and it looks good. Maybe I'll put some B-roll footage of me wearing this here. I did some bias tape here. I noticed on Jen Geigley's YouTube channel, she does like kind of a thicker thing here, not bias tape. I don't know if that's updated in the pattern. The current pattern I have says to do this bias kind of tape situation. So I don't know when she does a thicker piece if that's suggested in the newer edition of the 100 Acts of Sewing, or if that's like some kind of sewist knowledge that I should know. If you so, let me know. Okay, so I have 2 new things for the start of school year. So for the start of the school year, I am going to, tomorrow, I have a happy first day of school shirt planned and some pencil earrings. And then either on my next in-person class is on Wednesday. So depending on the weather, I might wear this with my skirt that I wore to flock, which is like leopard print. So I might do this. Or if it's a little cooler out, I haven't looked at the weather, I might do this. So I think it's really fun. There's just something really fun about making your own clothes and wearing them to class. It's particularly in the winter season, I try to wear a hand knit sweater to class every day. And then, yeah, and like fun earrings and things like this. My joke is I'm in my like full blown Miss Frizzle era. And any way I can give joy to my students, I love that. Okay, so those are my two finished objects, one knit, one sewing, and I would love to continue on the sewing journey. So for my next sewing project, I would like to make a skirt happen. I have my skirt pieces printed off for the peppermint skirt, and I have some fabric that I bought when I bought my sewing machine. And so I want to use that to make my first skirt. I'm not super excited about the fabric, but I don't want to create a fabric collection like I have a yarn collection. I have a really large yarn collection, and there's only so much space in my house, particularly with a 6-year-old. And so I don't want to start just like getting fabric. So my thought was to use that fabric up that I have and like practice making the skirt. And then after I do that, and I'm going to start a sweater for Sacred Sheep. I'm going to knit the Alpine Bloom. And so then once I do that, then, and I see that and I do my skirt successfully, I'd like to make a second peppermint skirt. So I guess I'm getting a little into fall plans here, but I do think by the Sacred Sheep Festival, which is the beginning of November, I would like to sew 2 skirts. That is, I'm saying it aloud, putting out in the universe, because I would like that to happen. And I'd like to knit another sweater for Sacred Sheep. So knitting this for the Flock Fiber Festival was such a joy. And so I'm going to do that for Sacred Sheep. And I'm going to knit the Alpine Bloom and match with Emily from the Tentacle Knitter. So that will be really fun. Okay, let me get to my work in progress that has like refueled my knitting energy. I mean, I feel like I've always loved knitting, but this project has just like created a spark in me. Okay, we are to the works in progress section. I've worked on 2 projects since I last recorded. Well, more than that, as you can see, but the 2 main works in progress I'm working on are these 2 knit items. The first one is a test knit. It is the Metropolitan Pullover by Tori Yu. And when I showed it on here, I think it was just the yarn. I don't think I cast it on yet or anything, so I'm just going to remind you about the yarn. I'm using Surrey from Explore Knits and Fibers. This is just in the camera not showing as beautiful as it is in person. In person, it's a light lavender. It's almost looking gray on the screen. And there's all these tonals, like cool tones, like a cool taupe and a cool blue and maybe a little subtle peach flavor, like I was going to say flavor, color. And this is the label. It's Surrey Alpaca Lace, 74% baby Surrey Alpaca, 26% silk. And the colorway is called Stroker Geyser, which is placed in Iceland. So this is an Icelandic colorway. I'm a professor, and like as I mentioned, sorry, I keep mentioning it. I just work is upon me. But also in the spring, I'm teaching a class and then doing a study abroad with a big group of juniors. I'm taking them to Iceland and Sweden. So when I purchased this, I knew that that was coming, and I wanted to make a sweater to wear in Iceland in an Icelandic colorway. So that's that. But when I applied for the test knit for the Metropolitan Pullover, I intended to hold this double, but then I realized I didn't have enough. So I wanted to get some yarn to hold double with it, and I was going to get a light gray yarn. But I went with Matilda, and she picked out this light purple color, which my 6-year-old, I was like, my 6-year-old picked out a better color combo than I did. She picked this out and it looks, maybe it doesn't look as epic on camera as it is in person. So the yarn that I just sold, the purple, is knitting for Olive. It's my first time knitting for Olive. I knew I wanted to go with knitting for Olive because there was a wealth of colors to pick from at Naughty Lamb, which is my local yarn store. And so the color is, it looks like they have it in Norwegian, which I just love. And then it's translated as unicorn purple. So it's very apropos that my 6-year-old who loves unicorns picked that out. I understand the hype about knitting for Olive now. There were so many colors to pick from, and I've really enjoyed knitting it. Hey, Matilda, you want to come up here? You want your pink rocks? All right, then come get them. My first swatch was here, and the gauge was too big, both the stitch gauge and the row gauge. So then I did another swatch, and the stitch gauge was on, but the row gauge wasn't. And so I proceeded forward with this. The pattern calls for a US size 10, which is a big needle because it's a big gauge. It's 16 stitches per 4 inches. It's a pretty big gauge. And yes, the pattern suggests a US size 10, but I needed to use a US size 8 to get that. I know a lot of people aren't into swatching, and that's fine. That's fine for you. I enjoy swatching because I am a loose knitter, so I like to see like how the fabric's going to look. I also enjoy seeing before I knit the sweater, like, is this going to be a good sweater? Because look, it looks so different. Isn't that so cool? Oh my gosh. And so I like seeing little, I think it's like when you're painting your walls and you do a little bit of painting on your wall to see if like you like the paint. Like I like when I, especially when I'm knitting with the fuzz, seeing that. And I, particularly for a test knit, I think is really important to do the gauge swatch so I can see if I'm getting stitch gauge. Okay, so I loved the fabric. I got the stitch gauge. I do think row gauge matters depending on the pattern, but I think it worked out for this pattern that I didn't get row gauge. Okay. And then I cast it on. I don't think I've had an episode like this in a while where I've like almost like between my last recording and this one have almost finished an entire garment. Like it's just, that's how much I love this. This is the perfect fusion of needle size, yarn, feeling, enjoying the color, enjoying the pattern. I just haven't felt this way in a long time. Let me know if you've had that experience, like that magical feeling, and like what that yarn combo and pattern were. Like, let me know. The first time it happened for me, I think, was the love note, which is why I've knit so many love notes. I've knit 7 love notes, and I'm going to host a love note knit along in October, on October 1st. So on my journey to 10. But there's just, for that pattern, there's something like really, it hits the sweet spot for me. And that's what this Metropolitan pullover is doing, because I've knit like the whole body. I just need to do the neck. I think that'll take me an evening, hopefully tonight, and then 2 sleeves. I really think I'm going to make the test knit deadline, which is September 4th, readily. Maybe I'm being too overconfident, but I think I should be able to do it. Okay, so it's a really fun construction. Let me start there. It's a saddle shoulder that creates a sleeve that has a little poof that looks like faux inset sleeves. How cool is that? So let me show you this. There's the little poof there, and there's the sleeve. And I will be honest, I always learn something with every project. And for this project, my learning was about make one left and make one right purls. So I've done make one left and make one rights. And I remember how to do it, like with like a little like, be right back. That's how I know when I'm doing a make one right, I go from the back. But I've never done a make one left or make one right with purls. And the first time I did it, it created holes. I actually had little holes here, and I got quite a way through when I realized that I had little holes and that wasn't part of the design. At first I was like, oh, maybe this is a design feature. No. And so then I ripped it out and I tried it again, and it mostly didn't have holes, but then it would have like, I think I had one like over here or something. Maybe it was over here. And so I just left it and decided to not rip out a second time and cast on a third time. I decided what I was going to do is just take yarn and sew it shut, and that's what I did. So you can't tell, but I did have a little boo-boo there. It's well described how to do make one left and make one right, both on the knit side and the purl side. It's just a user error on my end. But that's a fun thing to learn. And yeah, so you can see it's a large gauge. There's not short row shaping per se in it. But what a short row shaping does is create extra fabric up your neck, and she does have that design feature in there without short rows, which I think is pretty cool. And then it ends with an I-cord edging, and you can see my I-cord edging is rolling up a little bit, but I'm actually not worried about it at all. It's one of those features where people are like, oh, it'll block out. That's how I'm feeling. I had something similar happen to me with the Hohi Locatelli pattern that I knit. I think it was the boxy sweater or little boxy. I've knit two boxy sweaters and I don't remember their exact name, and they were both fingering weight, one for Matilda, one for me. And it had a small ribbing end at the bottom and it rolled while knitting. But then once I blocked it and when I wear it, it doesn't roll. And I actually think that that's what's happening here as well. And so this pattern provides two different sleeve options. One is a tapered sleeve and then one's a straight sleeve. I have plenty of yarn, so I can do my preferred style, which is a straight sleeve and not a tapered sleeve. So yeah, I have lots of yarn. So this may not look like a lot of yarn, but basically one skein, I used one skein somewhere here, then switched to the second skein here, and then I have two more in my collection. So I have plenty. Matilda, my 6-year-old, she would quite like it if I knit her one of these. Now the pattern's not great for children's sizes, so I'd have to like use either a children's pattern or figure out my own thing, but she would I think she would like it if I made her one of these. This is her favorite color, like the pale purple thing, and this is my very first purple sweater in my wardrobe at all. I think it'll be a good color on me, and I'm really excited. For my study abroad trip, Matilda's not coming to Iceland. The hope would be that she would meet up with me in Europe, so perhaps in Sweden. So I don't feel a pressure. I do want to wear this in Iceland and take a picture, so I don't, because Matilda's not going, I don't feel a pressure to for sure do that sweater pattern for her, but I just feel like I want to make her so many things. It's like hard to get everything done that she wants, because I also have some Taylor Swift colored yarn from Rubies and Roses, or some Taylor Swift themed yarn from Rubies and Roses that I'd like to make her a sweater. And so we'll see. I need to sit down and think about what my fall knitting plans are. Have you done that? Let me know if you started thinking about your fall plans. I definitely have fall energy going right now, like in my heart. So I think I need to sit down and think, like, what are your fall goals? What are some attainable ones? And what are some like maybe unattainable ones or still dreams that you want to do? Because like I'm ready. My second work in progress is a design, and I have been working on this slowly, and not because it's not giving me joy. It's just my priority has been like Mooncrush and then this test knit, and so I think I need to prioritize my own design. And so I haven't set like what my goals are for the fall, but I would like to have this out for testing early September. There's not a lot left of August here, so that might be ambitious, but I actually think it's very possible, though ambitious. So, okay. This is a shawl that's going to be knit or is knit tip to tip. And this part here is a fuzzy base. It's the Cosmo lace base from Yarnaceous in the color Illusions. And I don't have the tag with me here, so I don't remember the exact percentages, but it's merino and cashmere, and it's brushed. So it's a nice alternative to mohair or suri. But this pattern, though I'm designing it with the Cosmo and I'm going to knit all my versions in that, it could be easily replaced with a mohair or a suri. So imagine this piece being fuzzy. And then I'm going to knit a second one, and I showed the yarn for it on my yarn haul, so that as soon as I finish this and mine's being tested, I'm going to knit a second one during that testing phase that will really help illuminate these flowers. So these flowers are knit in a fingering weight that's not a fuzz, and in person it's so amazing, but it's just not photographing or filming very well. So that's unfortunate. Which is why I'm going to, when I went to Flock, I bought a kind of almost dark charcoal gray solid here, and then like a hot pink, that's Pink Pony Club from Fangirl Fibers. It was in the same booth. I think it was exclusive, so it's unfortunate for you if you want the Pink Pony Club, but I think that will really help those flowers pop. Okay, and so it's knit tip to tip, and then I'm past the halfway point. So I wonder if you can see it here. So here's the middle, and I did like a symmetric turn here. So each of these sections here is 23, each of the fuzzy sections is 23 garter bumps. So I did 11 garter bumps here, then the 12th garter bump, the turn, and then 11 more there. So you can see I'm past the halfway point. So that's a good size because this is the half and it's not even blocked yet. And these flowers kind of remind me of fall mums. Actually, Kyle and Matilda just went to Costco today and brought home a purple mum down there. So they kind of remind me of. This is so fun and I'm really enjoying it, even though I'm taking my time with it. And here's some of the, see if I have any of the, yeah, so this is the fingering weight, that's the flowers, and then this is the fuzzy part. I'm gonna go grab my computer because I brainstormed 3 different names for this and last night, and I'm really excited about it, but I would love your input on the 3 different names. So I went in to get my computer to show you my brainstorms. I thought I'd grab the yarn too. So my next one will be this. I did show this on the yarn haul, but I think you can see that like this will really help those flowers pop. So I think it'll be really fun for me to have 2 samples. One that's very monochrome and muted where the flowers don't pop a ton, and then one where the flowers are really epic. And I think it'll be so cool because there will be a lot of fun ways to play. Like you can do a fuzzy base however you like if you want it like mohair or suri or whatever fuzzy, or I guess non-fuzzy, whatever kind of base that you would like on that end. And then for these, you could do scraps. So you could do kind of like rainbow flowers, or you could do something like this that really pops, or something that's more muted. I'm really excited about the ways that people could play with this. And yeah, so that's what I got. Now this is a Flock exclusive colorway, so it wasn't maybe the best choice as a designer, but I need this in my life. So I can't wait to cast it on, which I also think is helping motivate me to want to finish. Okay, I'm pulling up my computer so I can tell you my brainstorm names. Okay. I've got 3 ideas. If you've got a better idea, you can tell me that too. But I would love for you to tell me of these 3 what you think would be good for this. Okay. So these remind me of mums, and so I wanted to do a nod to that, but I didn't want the word mum in my pattern name. So I used mum as the inspo thought. And then, okay, so these are the names. One could be Autumn Blossom Wrap. Autumn Blossom Wrap. Okay. My next idea is Frosted Petal, which I also really like because it's like around when it gets colder and things, like this fuzzy part is going to be so nice. And I don't know, it just kind of does remind me of frosted, especially since these 2 colorways are really close together. So Frosted Petal, so I like that one too. And then Harvest Bloom, I thought that way it could capture all the different kinds of flowers that we like. Okay, so autumn blossom wrap, frosted petal, or harvest bloom. Those are my 3 ideas to name this. Let me know if you like one of those better than the other, or if you have another idea. We're to the part where I announce the giveaway winner and then announce a new giveaway. Okay, so my last recorded episode, which is episode 55, I picked a name from there. Reach out to me by email. I'm profpurl@gmail.com. That's below in the more section, as everything that I talk about today is linked there. You've won this, which is a DK weight 100% superwash merino yarn from Stitch Together Studios from me. It's not sponsored. I essentially made 3 Soldana crop tops, which is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter from Boylan Knitworks. And my very first Soldana, this was the body color, and I had 2 of these. And so I had the second skein, and I always imagined making a hat or a scarf or something, and I never did. So I'm going to share this to celebrate the 3 years of podcasting or having this YouTube channel. And so your name's here. Reach out to me. Thank you. If you're interested, I'm also going to gift a little garter scarf pattern of mine with it. But you don't have to have that if you don't want it. It's just an offer to have like a little kit if you want of a pattern and a yarn. So, okay. Congratulations. I hope you're excited. Okay. Now I have a giveaway for this episode, and Valerie, who is a longtime viewer and friend, she's been watching this YouTube channel since my very first episode, and she's come to some Zoom nights. So it's really special that she reached out to me, and we both kind of connect on an education level. She's a teacher, and so she reached out to me and said she wanted to send me a pencil case. Just want to clarify, this is not a giveaway, this part. This is mine. And she's made a pencil case, so cute, with this like quilted pencil. And then here's her label that says Cooper's Corner. And the inside is striped. And this is one of the motivations for me to record today, so I could bring this to school and use it tomorrow. And yeah, so here is her label. And she's Cooper's Corner NC on Etsy and on Instagram. Okay. So she said that she wanted to send this to me. So sweet. And she did. And then she sent me extra bags as a giveaway. And it just so happens that my YouTube channel, in that time since I last recorded, reached 4K subscribers. So I think this is a perfect 4K celebration. So thank you, Valerie. So one of the bags will be for a 4K celebration. And I'm going to save the other bag to do a giveaway for a surprise knit along I have. Well, it's not surprise. It's just impromptu, rather. So she sent this kind of smaller notions bag, which I think is so cute. And so this will be gifted with a larger bag for this 4K giveaway. It's like this kind of Tiffany blue inside, and it matches this. And there's, I think her bags are that, I mean, I wish I knew more about sewing, but there's like, this is padded, like it's not just the fabric. It's definitely like there's something inside of it. If you're a bag enthusiast, you know what I'm talking about. Like some bags are like fabric, and then some are like fabric and then they put something inside. Like a batting, is that what it's called? Okay. So this bag matches it. So this could be whoever wins this giveaway for the 4K giveaway, they could pick this. But I'm going to let whoever wins pick. So whoever wins will get this little one, and then you can pick this bag because it kind of matches. Or you could just put this in one of your other knitting bags and pick this one. Look at this. So cute. Okay. And then whatever one the person who wins doesn't pick will be the bag I use in our next knit alongs giveaway. Okay, so the inside here, look at this, similar to Tiffany blue, but it has pockets. The pockets make it very tempting for me to keep this. I'm going to give it away. Okay, it's just so cute. The pink zipper. This is very hard for me to give away if I'm being honest. Okay, but yeah, there's multiple pockets here, which would be great for putting in like your little things inside your knitting bag. Right, and I'll show you the inside of this one. It has a white zipper, these fun pockets, or these fun polka dots, which kind of remind me of like a vintage kitchen a little bit. And inside is gray. I like the inside of that one too. So it's so good. Okay, so if you want to be entered for this 4K celebration giveaway, just all you need to do is comment below about this, which will be, what are your essentials to keep inside of a knitting bag? I think that would be a fun thing to talk about. I'll share some of my essentials to keep inside of a knitting bag. Every knitting bag has its own little situation, and so that's why it's fun to have those little bags, so you can either move it between your bags, or I have this like little tiny situation where I put like this, look, little tiny scissors. This is from Portland Leather. I have little tiny stitch markers from Flock last year, little progress keepers, apparently also a normal progress keeper. Never know when you need the stitch markers and progress keepers and scissors. And that's good enough for this bag because it's keeping my shawl. And so really all I need is progress keepers and scissors, not much else. I probably would need a tapestry needle to like finish this off, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But yeah, so that's kind of my go-to, but let me know what your go-tos are, if you have a way of organizing the things in your bag. Love to hear that. Forgot to mention something really important, which is Valerie, with her special bags, is offering a coupon code. It's profpurl10. And so if you go to her store, Cooper's Corner, and you use the code profpurl10, you'll get a 10% discount. Now there's some dates on that. Like it's not like a forever discount code. So you'll want to make sure that you get the screen below here to know what the code is and what the dates are. Or if you forget, go to the more or the description box below and I'll have the coupon code, her Etsy site, and all that linked. So Valerie, thank you so much for the generous donation of bags for prizes and also the coupon code for everybody. Okay, we are to the dream knitting section. I am going to knit a love note, my 8th love note, or maybe it's my 7th. I need to count them. I'm going to knit another love note, and I'm going to do a love note knit along in October. So my intent was to have no more knit alongs until a love note, love knit along, which I've been doing annually, so that I could just focus on some other things I have going on. As you can see, I've got a lot going on. That was the intent, but here's what happened. Sometimes you can't plan the things that you become obsessed with or the things that are like beautiful going on in your life. And not to be dramatic, but I have thought about this pattern every day since it came out, and it is the Freedom Chosen pattern. And it's designed by Kamika Champion, who's the owner of Miss Purl, which is a knitting store in Chicago, I think on the south side, and I cannot wait to visit it someday. It's a dream of mine to visit and to meet Kamika. Like, I think it would be so amazing. But this pattern is just beautiful physically to look at, but it's also beautiful for the heart and the mind and the soul. And I just can't even handle like how much I want to make this and many, and how I want everybody to make these. And I want us all to do them together and to support her and to support the message behind this. So let me, first of all, just show you the first part of her pattern. So I think this was a long time ago. She and I were chatting on Instagram, and I think she told me she has a background in graphic design, and I think you can tell. Like, I love how her pattern, like, this is the yarn you need. These are the needles. This is the supplies. Looks so cute. I love the formatting on this front page. Okay, so I'm going to cast these on. I actually want to cast it on tomorrow on the first day of school to celebrate. But then part of me is like, I should wait because I'm posting it along, and we should all do it together on September 1st. So mark your calendar, September 1st, Freedom Chosen. I want you to go follow her and read her post about this if you're interested in it. And I'm just going to give you like a little taste in like what she writes on this first page about Freedom Chosen pattern. Free people have long worn scarf adornments as a symbol of strength, fidelity, and faith. May Freedom Chosen represent for you, as it does for me, a reminder to move forward in our collective freedom. You are free to be. And I love that message of not going back and moving forward, particularly in this voting season. I am getting goosebumps even thinking about it. Like, I want to knit this and I want to wear this when I vote. And we have a huge presidential election coming up. And this Freedom Chosen is just like, I could cry right now. Like, we need to knit this, and we need to knit this together on September 1st. And okay, she's just hilarious. And this is why I need to go to her store. Like, just the community, and even just like, it just comes off in the way she writes this pattern. Relaxation level, easy and calm. Skill level, a confidence building knit for beginners, a breeze for the OG knitters. Okay. And there's different weights. You can do this in sport weight or you can do it in fingering weight. If you do it in sport weight, you need 140 yards. If you're doing it in fingering weight, you only need 90 yards. And these are cute, but she's made tons of these. Like, she's made ones that are like 2 colors. Man, her Instagram made like a red, white, and blue one. The way that they're styled, and I just want to make these so much. So let's do this together. Let me know down below, or DM me or email me. Let me know if you want to do this with me. Go support her. She's Miss Purl on Instagram. If I have that wrong, I'll have the corrected Instagram handle here, and the pattern's Freedom Chosen. So September 1st until October 1st. At first, I wanted to have the knit along to go from September 1st until we vote. So maybe I'll do that, but I've been committed for a year that we're going to October 1st do a love note knit along. So I just feel like it would be kind of nice to wrap up one knit along and move on to the next one. So it's either going to end on October 1st or when we vote. You can let me know what you prefer if you want to do this. But September 1st, I'm so excited about this. I'm thinking about maybe even doing a Zoom where we can all like cast on together. Let me know if you'd be interested in that. So excited. All right, friends, that's it for knitting content. There is no more knitting from this point forward. We are to the personal section where I'm just going to chat about my life. So if you're not into that and you're only here for the knitting, thank you so much for being here. And if you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. But I'm going to talk about what I've been reading. So, okay, as I've mentioned almost at an annoying amount of this time, I'm a professor. And so school's starting on Monday, and I have a heavy fall teaching load, probably heavier than it's been in a long time. And to be clear, I'm not complaining about that. I'm just merely saying that because it's distracted from recreational reading, because I've been preparing for my classes. So I am teaching 4 different classes in the fall, and 2 of them I've taught before, and then 2 of them are brand new because I have a new role and I'm in a new department at my university. And so I've just been in full blown planning mode, which I get a lot of joy out of planning classes. So that's been fun, but it's distracted me from reading. And it's because I've been thinking so heavily about these classes. Basically, my reading's been very light. So the book I finished is called Legends and Lattes. And if you're thinking that I've already mentioned this on the channel, I have. But what happened is I started reading that book, got partway through, and got distracted. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? With like, I'm like that with my knitting too. And I read other things and I did other things, and I never finished reading that book. So I pulled that book out again and I read it, the whole thing. And I even read the short story called Pages to Fill. And there's 2 characters in there, main characters in there, Viv and Tandri. I couldn't love them more. And it's basically like a cozy fantasy book. And maybe you're familiar with this genre. I was not. I've never really been into cozy mysteries, but I wanted to be because I like the idea of a cozy book that's like easy to read and easy to chill out to. Like, I just love that idea. But murder mysteries aren't really my thing. which is ironic because I am reading the Vampire Knitting Club, but I'm digressing. Nonetheless, I hadn't been into knitting mysteries until the Knitting by Vampire Club. But so anyway, I read this book. It's so cozy, so easy to read, low stakes, not stressful. If you love coffee, this is the book for you. Obviously, it has the word lattes in it, but I don't know if you feel this way, but for me in the morning, there's just something divine about the warm coffee and that feeling when I'm drinking it. Like it just cannot be replicated. And somehow this book, though it's not a cup of coffee, captures that feeling of that like first sip kind of morning coffee feeling. Like because Viv, she had a very high stakes fantasy life and she gave it all up to start a coffee shop, but essentially nobody in this little village she starts a coffee shop for like knows what coffee is. She has to like teach them what coffee is, teach them what a latte is, teach them like how to hang out in a coffee. She like invents the idea of like a coffee shop and hanging out in a coffee shop. It's so cool. And the author does such a good job. There's a sequel. I have it. I bought it from a local bookstore to me. And I'm having a hard time remembering it. Basically, there's like a yarn store called Weird Sisters out here in Portland in the St. John area, and it also has a bookshop attached to it. I'll make sure to link it, but that's where I bought the book. Okay, so I read that, felt really great. Then one of the swim moms, I thought I had it out here. Yep. One of the swim moms in my life, she's really into reading right now, and she has like all the good books. And so she loaned me one of her books, and she keeps her books really nice and new. So I kind of feel bad that I got this like a little bit crummy. And I'm using a bookmark from my local bookstore. It's called Chapters. They have ice cream and board games and books and all kinds of things in there. It's really fun. I'm not very far, as you can see, but I'm enjoying it. And one of the things that I'm really enjoying about this rom-com versus a couple others that I've read recently is that I'm really rooting for the main characters. I don't always root for the main characters, which is an essential element to a rom-com. So, like, I've read all the Emily Henry rom-coms, and her latest one, Funny Story, was the first one that I was rooting for. The characters, and it also the Funny Story took place in a Midwest town, and I'm from the Midwest. It's where I grew up, and that always gets me. This also takes place in the Midwest, so that's got me. I think it takes place in the Midwest at least. At least sounds like it takes place in the Midwest. And they're Daniel and Alexis, and I like them. I can't say that about all the rom-coms I read. Like this summer, I read The Rom-Commers by Catherine Center, and I didn't like the man in there at all. I don't even remember his name, but I couldn't stand him, and I was supposed to be happy for the characters at the end of the book, and I was like, but Alexis and Daniel, I like them, and I'm really enjoying this book, and it's super light and easy to read, which is what I need now. Okay, as I'm preparing for my semester. When I'm planning for a semester, the other thing that gives me joy is paper planning. I really, really enjoy that as well. So I've got like a life planner that I do my whole life planning in, and I also have a teacher planner. I do my planning on paper. Even though of the 4 classes I'm teaching, 3 out of the 4 are online classes and 1 is in person. It's honestly like the best situation for me because I have a flexible schedule, which is great as a mom for picking my daughter up from school and dropping her off at school. And it's also super great as a human for me to decide how to manage my time and what I want to work on. I really thrive in that kind of environment. So it's so great, and I couldn't be more excited about my classes. And I'm going to really bore you about telling you about some of my classes. So one of the classes I'm teaching is a math content class for future teachers. And so I love teaching that class, and I love it. That's my only in-person class because I feel like pour out all my energy into that in-person class, that like teaching physical energy, and I love that. And I also have a lot of mom energy, like not just for Matilda, but for my students. And so my students are mostly freshmen, so they moved into campus last week on Thursday and Friday, and tomorrow at 10 a.m. I'm there. Maybe they have a class before 10 a.m. I hope not for their sakes. They stay up late. No, they stay up late. So I hope I'm their first class tomorrow morning, and I'm so excited. So even though they're majoring in elementary ed, or maybe they'll be a middle school math teacher or something like this, but I'm there teaching them the math content, so the deep mathematical knowledge you need in order to teach, which is different than like how to teach. That's not what I teach. I teach like mathematics, and I like to create an environment where students can feel like mathematicians and feel the joy around doing math and be challenged and learn how to persevere and learn that they're capable of persevering. All right, I'm going to stop myself because I can keep going. Okay. And then I'm teaching a master's class on Introduction to Qualitative and Quantitative Research Methods. I've been teaching that class for a long time, and it really gives me a lot of joy. One of the things I like to do in that class is I will have, these are already teachers out in the world and getting their master's degree. So I'll teach them a research methodology and then ask them to go find an article that uses that methodology aligned to their research interests. So if they're not interested in math, they don't have to read about math education. They could, if they're interested in music education, they can go find that. So I like to support each student individually in what their research interest is, but then alongside that, they can learn about different research methodologies. So that's fun. And I love doing that every year because I learned so much. I learned so much about everybody personally, but also about their different things they're interested in. So then I end up learning kind of obscure things sometimes, which I actually really like. All right. And then I have 2 new classes. So I've never taught these before. And when they were first introduced to me, I was like, I don't know if I'll find them interesting or not. But as I planned them, I developed such a real excitement for them. So the class I'm most excited about this semester is this new class. And I wasn't excited about it at first, but now it's like I feel like that's where my fire is, which is I'm going to be working with already in service principals or future superintendents. And so it's and like basically an administrative licensure sort of course. And it is a course on aligning your data to school improvement plans. And I think first I don't know how I felt about it. I was like, I will be a good fit for it, but I wasn't like really excited about it. But then I started to think about like the kind of impact I could have about helping people become statistically literate, how to help people make sense of data in like ethical, high integrity ways, in critical ways. It got me very excited, and I'm very excited about that class. And then I've been emailing some of the principals already, and anyway, I'm really excited about that class. And then my last class is a doctoral class. So this is students who are pursuing a doctoral degree in educational leadership, and I'm teaching them about curriculum instruction and assessment. And yeah, I think I'm really excited to work with doctoral students. I don't think I was like feeling like that's where my expertise is in curriculum instruction and assessment, but I definitely am going to be a learner alongside the students, and I'm really excited to work with doctoral students. I don't know if you wanted to hear about all my classes this semester, but I just thought it might be fun. I've never shared what I teach before. This is a pivot for me. I've mostly been focused on math education. This is the start of my 10th year as a professor at my university, and I have primarily been focused on math education, but I'm kind of shifting gears a little bit. And this semester, after 9 years at my institution, I'm switching departments, and I'm going to be in the educational leadership department. So primarily working with doctoral students and principals. And I'm excited for the change. I think sometimes change can be scary, but sometimes it can be really good for you in the long run. And yeah, so I'm really excited about that. What have I been up to? Flock was a big part of my life, and it was such a fun thing to do before school started. And so I would really encourage you, if you want to know more about that, to watch my vlog. I have kind of in 2 separate videos, one where I discuss the social interactions and share a vlog, and then a second one where I share what I bought. I was so surprised. The video about what I bought was doing better than the vlog. And I was thinking people didn't want to see that, but apparently that's what people want to see, so it's kind of funny to me. Anyway, and there's on my, was it YouTube, like home screen where it suggests things. I can't tell you how many flock videos have been showing up on my screen, and I'm like, there's a YouTube channel I haven't heard of before. Here's a YouTube channel I hadn't heard of before. So that's been really fun for me to like learn about other people out there in the community that were also there making videos, and I've really enjoyed that. And when I was at Flock, Matilda was at a swim meet at Newport, which is a coastal town, and my husband went and my in-laws went, and so she had this invitational, and part of me really was sad that I wasn't there and that I was at Flock instead, that I was kind of in almost like feeling a little bit sad about that. And the cool thing that happened is out of Matilda's officially swam a full year on swim team and set a full year of competition or meets. And it was her best swim meet yet, like out of the entire year. And it was like kind of the end of the season. And well, she did long course and short course. So it was long course season ended. So I guess it might have technically been the beginning of the season. I don't know. It's very confusing to me. I don't know anything about swimming. So it's either the being a short course season or the end of a season, how it marked. But it was the best swim she's ever had. And I missed it. I mean, she swam 8 events and 7 out of the 8 got a PR or personal best. And part of me was sad about that, but in some ways it was liberating because to know that she was like thriving, it actually like helped me enjoy Flock more. So that was really cool. And Matilda starts school soon. Out here in Oregon, the kids start school after Labor Day. So I actually returned back to the university before Matilda. So there's this like awkward time where I'm teaching and she's still on summer break. And so she loves to come to my university. And so my joke is she's basically a college student until her school starts back. But it's starting to get into full swing here because next week we have like a school supply drop off and she gets to meet her first grade teacher. And her first grade teacher is going to be a new teacher. Like it's her first teaching job. And I'm really excited about that because I think it's fun to like have young people in your life and to have people with this like renewed energy and excitement. And so I'm really excited that that's Matilda's situation, and I'm excited to meet her teacher this week. And yeah, so what I've been up to mostly has been swimming with Matilda, watching her swim, talking about swimming, reading, and enjoying the last bits of summer here. I mean, I'm kind of in a sweet space where it's still summer break and school starts, which are both my favorite things. I love school and I love summer break. And now I get a week or two where there's this overlap of both happening at the same time. Anyway, let me know if you're going to do any of the knit-alongs. The Freedom Chosen on September 1st, Love Note on October 1st. I would love to have you. I'd love to have community together. And let me know, even if you're not doing that or you are doing that, just in general, let me know what you're knitting this fall. And I definitely want to make a fall plans video. So let me know if you would be interested in that or any other fall content. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I'm going to spend the rest of my afternoon knitting here on my porch, and my pumpkin pie that I made here probably got a little cold. Ooh, a little warm, still a little warm. So I'm going to finish my pumpkin chai from David's Tea. Huge fan of it. And I'm going to knit. So that's how I'm going to spend my day. And by the time you're watching this, I'm going to be, the time you're watching this, I'm going to be teaching. Summer's over. All right. See ya. Bye.